Welcome, everyone. This deep dive is different.
Different good or different?
Different good, different good.
Yeah.
We asked for it, remember? You all sent in these rankings for, elemental spirits.
Right. The spirits of fire, water, earth, all that.
Yeah, exactly. But not just, who's strongest.
More like who still matters, which is so much more interesting, honestly.
100%. It's like a popularity contest for, beings of pure force.
And some of the results, let me tell you, they surprised me.
Me too. Okay, so we've got this ranking system, right? It goes from, faded echoes all the way to, being so powerful they practically break the ranking system.
We had to get creative with those top tiers, not gonna lie.
For real.
Yeah.
So let's start with those faded echoes, the C tier. These are the spirits who were once a big deal, woven into everyday life, and now they're like whispers in the wind.
Yeah, you almost feel bad for them. Imagine being a sylph, right? Air spirit, all graceful and whatnot.
And now they're mostly stuck in poetry.
Exactly. Or how about salamanders? Once upon a time, people thought they were born from fire.
Now they're just, lizards.
Pretty lizards, but still. It makes you wonder what happened.
Right. Did we stop believing and they faded? Or did they fade so we stopped believing? It's a chicken or the egg kind of situation.
And speaking of fading, we got to talk about the gnomes. This one, I got to admit, I chuckled when I saw it.
The gnomes.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Once upon a time, they were guardians of the earth's riches, tied to alchemy, all that powerful stuff.
Serious figures. Now you mostly see them on lawns.
Wearing those little pointy hats.
It's a bit of a demotion, wouldn't you say?
Talk about a fall from grace.
Yeah.
But it makes you think, right? What beliefs we hold today might seem, kind of silly to future generations.
Ooh, that's a good one to ponder. But let's move on up the ladder, shall we? To Tier B, the dormant forces. Still around in myths, but more like background characters now.
Like their friend who used to be the life of the party, but now they're just kind of there.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like the undines, those water spirits, they pop up here and there, but they're not exactly headlining any major myths these days.
It's like their PR team went on vacation or something.
Right. And then there are the dryads, the ones tied to trees. I always found that concept fascinating.
Oh, me too. The idea that if you harm the tree, you harm the dryad.
Makes you think twice about chopping down that old oak in your backyard.
Seriously. And then there are the Oreads, the mountain spirits.
Ah, yes, the majestic Oreads. They haven't fared too well in the ranking either.
I guess we kind of conquered mountains. Yeah. We mapped them, climbed them, even drilled holes through them. Maybe the Oreads just got tired of our shenanigans and decided to lay low.
Can't say I blame them. But speaking of shifting perspectives, we arrive at Tier A, the respected elementals. These are the spirits who've managed to hold on to their relevance, often within specific traditions or cultures.
Yeah, it's like they found their niche and are thriving in it. Like the naiads, for example. Those freshwater nymphs are still very much a thing.
Makes sense when you think about it. Freshwater is essential for life, right? It's no wonder those spirits have retained their power.
It's like a subconscious reminder that water is precious.
Exactly. And speaking of powerful forces, let's not forget the Ifrit. Those fiery jinn, they don't mess around.
No kidding. We're not talking about some wish-granting genie in a bottle here.
Right. The Ifrit represent the raw, untamed power of fire. They can be benevolent, sure, but they can also be downright terrifying.
They're a force of nature, literally. And their stories, passed down through generations, remind us of how much respect we need to have for that element.
Absolutely. But let's not forget the wind. We've got Boreas, the North Wind himself, holding strong in this tier.
He might not be making headlines these days, but anyone who's ever been caught in a blizzard knows he's not to be trifled with.
There's a reason we still have phrases like the wind howled and the storm raged. Boreas is a reminder that nature always finds a way to make itself heard, even in our modern world.
Okay, so we've talked about the spirits who are fading, those who are holding steady, and now we're stepping into the big leagues, the S tier, the revered primordial spirits.
This is where things get really interesting. We're talking about the heavy hitters, the names that echo through millennia, the ones who still command our awe, our wonder, and maybe even a little bit of fear.
Yeah, these are the spirits who represent the elements in their most primal, most powerful forms. And we've got to start with a legend, Gaia, the Earth Mother herself.
If you're talking about elemental spirits, you can't not talk about Gaia. She's not just a powerful being, she is the Earth.
And she's still a major force in our collective consciousness, especially with all the talk about environmentalism these days. It's like her story is more relevant than ever.
Absolutely. And from the earth, we move to the sea with Poseidon, the ruler of the waves. He's another one who's still very much a part of our cultural vocabulary.
Oh, for sure. Everyone knows Poseidon. He's the embodiment of the ocean's power, for better or for worse.
Exactly. And we can't forget about the fiery side of things. We've got Surt, the Norse fire giant, holding down the fort in the S tier.
Talk about a hothead. Surt is a walking, talking inferno, the kind of being who could melt glaciers with a glance.
He embodies the sheer destructive power of fire, but also its creative potential. He's a reminder that fire is a force of creation as well as destruction.
Okay, so we've got earth, water, fire, and now we're about to enter a whole other level of awesome as we ascend to the S tier, the transcendent elemental rulers.
Fasten your seatbelts, folks, because we're about to get metaphysical. Buckle up, because S tier is where we leave, like regular mythology in the dust.
We're going full-on cosmic.
Full-on cosmic. These are the forces behind the forces, you know.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Hit me with your best shot. Who's at the top of the S tier?
Well, we gotta start with Anu, right? The Sumerian sky god. Talk about reaching for the heavens.
Anu, yeah. He wasn't just content with ruling the sky. He was like, nope, I'm in charge of fate too.
The ultimate control freak. But on a cosmic scale, so, you know, gotta respect it.
It makes you think about how much our ancestors revered the sky. I mean, they looked up and saw the stars, the sun, the moon, all that vastness. No wonder they imagined beings of immense power controlling it all.
It's like, imagine thinking the person who decides whether you get stuck in traffic is also responsible for the movement of galaxies. That's Anu.
Mind-blowing. But, okay, enough about order and fate. Let's talk about chaos. We got to talk about Tiamat, the primordial sea dragon.
Ah, Tiamat. Now there's a being that embodies raw, untamed power.
Forget about Poseidon and his waves. Tiamat is the embodiment of the chaotic ocean that existed before creation. Like, before there was even a word for ocean, there was Tiamat.
It's a concept that can really make your head spin. The idea that there was a time before time, a state of pure, unbridled chaos from which everything we know emerged. It's mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling in the best way possible. Okay, so we've gone from the order of Anu to the chaos of Tiamat. Now let's talk about a being who represents both Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction and creation.
Shiva, the ultimate multitasker, destroyer of worlds, but also, like, cosmic choreographer, making sure the dance of life and death keeps going.
I like to imagine him with, like, a celestial to-do list. Destroy universe, check. Create new one, check. Work on my dance moves.
Priorities. But it really gets you thinking about that cycle, you know, creation, destruction, rebirth. It's the rhythm of the universe.
And Shiva embodies that rhythm perfectly. He's a reminder that endings are also beginnings, that even in destruction, there's a kind of creation happening.
Deep stuff. But hold on tight, because now we're venturing into the broken tier.
Broken tier. Did we, like, break the ranking system?
Pretty much. We're talking about being so powerful, so beyond our understanding that they defy categorization.
Okay, now I'm really curious. Give me an example. Who's causing all this cosmic havoc?
How about Ymir, the primordial ice giant? We're not just talking about a big dude with a frosty beard. This is a being whose body literally became the world.
Wait, what? Like, the mountains are his kneecaps and the rivers are his veins.
Exactly. Ymir is a reminder that sometimes the line between a being and a force of nature, a fundamental element, just completely dissolves.
It's like those optical illusions where you can't tell if it's a vase or two faces.
But instead of a vase, it's the entire universe. And speaking of universal forces, we've got to talk about Amaterasu, the Shinto sun goddess.
Amaterasu, yeah. Talk about bringing the heat.
She's not just the sun in the sky. She's the source of all light, all warmth, all life energy. When she hid herself away, the world was plunged into darkness.
Okay, that's some serious power. It's like, imagine if your mood could literally control the weather.
Right, but on a cosmic scale. And then there's Aether, the pure essence that the gods themselves breathe. Not just air, but like the air of air.
So meta. It's like the VIP lounge of the atmosphere where only the most powerful beings get to hang out.
Exactly. It's a reminder that there are forces at play in the universe that we can barely even comprehend, let alone control.
I'm getting chills. The good kind. This broken tier is blowing my mind. What's even more broken than this?
Get ready to have your mind really blown, because we're about to enter the beyond broken tier, the realm of ultimate cosmic mysteries.
Okay, so we're venturing even further into the unknown, the beyond broken tier. This is where the really big questions come in, right?
This is where we have to let go of trying to fit things into neat little boxes. We're talking about concepts that are so fundamental, so vast, that they challenge our very understanding of what's real.
So less about specific spirits, more about, like, the cosmic building blocks of everything.
Exactly. Think of it like this. If the broken tier is the edge of the map, the beyond broken tier is what lies beyond the edge, where the cartographers just scribbled, "Here be dragons."
Intriguing. So what kind of dragons are we talking about here?
Well, we've already talked about chaos, right? The primordial void. But it's not just about emptiness. It's about the potential that exists within that emptiness.
Okay, so like before the Big Bang, before even the idea of a Big Bang.
Even before that, it's the ultimate mystery, the question of what existed before existence itself. And that's what makes this tier so fascinating. We're not just talking about powerful beings anymore. We're talking about the forces that govern reality itself.
It's like we've zoomed out so far that the entire universe looks like a grain of sand on an infinite beach. It's humbling and awe-inspiring all at the same time. So where do we go from here? What do we do with this sense of, well, cosmic vertigo?
We keep exploring, we keep asking questions, even if we know we might never find all the answers. That's the beauty of it.
So what's the takeaway from this wild ride through elemental spirits, from those who are fading into obscurity to those who defy comprehension? What have we learned?
I think we've learned that these myths, these stories, these beings, they're all reflections of ourselves, our hopes, our fears, our attempts to make sense of the world around us.
And sometimes our attempts to make sense of things that just can't be fully understood.
Exactly. And that's okay. Because it's in those moments of wonder, those moments when we encounter something so much bigger than ourselves, that we truly start to grasp the incredible mystery and beauty of the universe we inhabit.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Well, folks, there you have it. We've journeyed through the tiers of elemental power, from the familiar to the utterly mind-blowing. We've explored the enduring legacy of these spirits, their impact on our cultures, and their ability to spark our imaginations.
We've encountered beings of immense power, from mischievous gnomes to cosmic creators, and we've been reminded that even in the face of the unknown, the human spirit continues to search for meaning, for connection, and for a glimpse of the infinite.
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder the mysteries we've uncovered. Keep exploring those myths, keep asking those big questions, and most importantly, never stop being amazed by the wonders of the universe.
Until next time, keep seeking.
And keep diving deep.